Good morning, everyone. Today we begin our study through the book of Ezekiel. Before we delve into the 28 verses of chapter 1, I want to give just a little bit of background information so that we kind of set the stage for what it is we're going to see in the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel is a prophet who is contemporary with Jeremiah and Daniel. He is going to come along at the end of Jeremiah's time of prophecy and at the very beginning, if not a little bit before, Daniel truly begins his work. And so you're going to have a time period within the captivity. As a matter of fact, Ezekiel is going to be one of the captives, and the indication is he is going to be taken away in the second carrying away in the days of Jehoiakim. He is going to be approximately, as we're going to learn from chapter 1, verse 1, approximately 30 years old at the time that he is going to be called to speak for God. Ezekiel's message is going to be different from Isaiah's or Jeremiah's because Ezekiel's prophecy is going to be very much vision driven. There's going to be a number of different visions that are going to be related, and they're going to deal with a number of different things. There have been some that have referred to Ezekiel as the revelation of the Old Testament, and there is good reason for that. However, when studying Ezekiel, you have to pay attention to the information that is given about what the visions relate to, just like you do with Revelation and various other areas of Scripture as well. But if we don't pay attention to what Ezekiel says the visions are about, and what Ezekiel says the messages are about, then you wind up missing the entire tenor of what it is that is being said. So we're going to jump in today into chapter 1, and from the very outset, we're going to have the first of Ezekiel's visions. So pay attention as we're reading, and see if you can find the key to what it is Ezekiel says he's talking about. And then we will come back tomorrow and see if we can fill in some of the gaps. In Ezekiel chapter 1, beginning in verse 1, we read these words. Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, on the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river Chebar, that the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God. On the 5th day of the month, which was in the 5th year of King Jehoiakim's captivity, the word of the Lord came expressly to Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Chebar, and the hand of the Lord was upon him there. Then I looked, and behold, a whirlwind was coming out of the north, a great cloud with raging fire engulfing itself. The brightness was all around it, and radiating out of its midst like the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Also from within it came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. Each one had 4 faces, and each one had 4 wings. Their legs were straight, and the soles of their feet were like the soles of calves' feet. They sparkled like the color of burnished bronze. The hands of a man were under their wings on their 4 sides, and each of the 4 had faces and wings. Their wings touched one another. The creatures did not turn when they went, but each one went straight forward. As for the likeness of their faces, each had the face of a man. Each of the 4 had the face of a lion on the right side, each of the 4 had the face of an ox on the left side, and each of the 4 had the face of an eagle. Thus were their faces. Their wings stretched upward. 2 wings of each one touched one another, and 2 covered their bodies. And each one went straight forward. They went wherever the Spirit wanted to go, and they did not turn when they went. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, like the appearance of torches going back and forth among the living creatures. The fire was bright, and out of the fire went lightning, and the living creatures ran back and forth in appearance like a flash of lightning. Now as I looked at the living creatures, behold, a wheel was on the earth beside each living creature with its 4 faces. The appearance of the wheel and their workings was like the color of beryl, and all four had the same likeness. The appearance of their workings was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. When they moved, they went toward any one of four directions. They did not turn aside when they went. As for their rims, they were so high they were awesome, and their rims were full of eyes all around the four of them. When the living creatures went, the wheels went beside them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Wherever the Spirit wanted to go, they went, because there the Spirit went. And the wheels were lifted together with them, for the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. When those went, these went. When those stood, these stood. And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up together with them, for the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. The likeness of the firmament above the heads of the living creatures was like the color of an awesome crystal, stretched out over their heads. And under the firmament their wings spread out straight, one toward another. Each one had two which covered one side, and each one had two which covered the other side of the body. When they went, I heard the noise of their wings like the noise of many waters, like the voice of the Almighty, a tumult like the noise of an army. And when they stood still, they let down their wings. A voice came from above the firmament that was over their heads. Whenever they stood, they let down their wings. And above the firmament over their heads was the likeness of a throne, in appearance like a sapphire stone. On the likeness of the throne was a likeness with the appearance of a man high above it. Also from the appearance of his waist and upward I saw as it were the color of amber, with the appearance of fire all around within it. And from the appearance of his waist and downward I saw as it were the appearance of fire with brightness all around, like the appearance of a rainbow in a cloud on a rainy day. So was the appearance of the brightness all around it. This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. So when I saw it, I fell on my face, and I heard a voice of one speaking. This is going to continue into chapter 2, and you're going to have the introduction to Ezekiel of the full breadth of the message in chapter 2. But this is the initial vision. These are the initial things that Ezekiel sees on this particular day. And so tomorrow we will come back and we will examine some of the things that we can learn from this particular message. Did you find the key? If not, come back tomorrow and we'll talk about some of the things that we find in Ezekiel chapter 1. But until then, have a good day.